And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chantex Multimedia live stream, streaming live to your device directly from Brisbane, Australia. Brisbane, which is coming out of a 3-day lockdown tonight, but there will be restrictions on venues, etc. We will discuss them in detail in the program. Mask will be compulsory in public places. The India-Australia cricket test came to a halt after an Indian cricketer complained about racial abuse, and the match had to be stopped and fans evicted. Cricket Australia has confirmed that the fourth and the final test between Australia and India will be played at the Gabba as scheduled. India hosted a very successful PBD. PBD means Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which we will show the glimpses of in the program later on. It was a big virtual event. And congratulations to my dear friend Qld Ramsamy of Reunion Island in France for being awarded Pravasi Sanmam. Jean is a tireless GoPio advocate, and his award is in the media and community categories. We have so much in common, and I'm so proud of him. Next news is debris has been found and recovered from that ill-fated plane crash in Indonesia. More news in detail after the weather news and update with Dilraj Delon.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 28 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with slight chance of shower. Wind southeasterly 15 to 25 km per hour, then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 4 p.m. and UV index is predicted to reach 13, that is extreme. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that, Dilraj. Well, right now, moving on with the news that everyone's been waiting for eagerly, and that news is what's happening with the lockdown in Queensland. Well, the announcement has just been made, and so let's join that announcement.
New cases are...
The live stream from the Parliament House is going to begin in a minute.
Right, good morning, Queensland. Well, in some very good news, I can report that we've had 0 new cases of community transmission overnight, which is wonderful news. We just got that news in this morning. There are 4 cases in hotel quarantine, but we're absolutely happy with that because they are being contained. There are 25 active cases, and over the last 24 hours, once again, Queenslanders have come out, and there have been 18,904 tests. So another great effort from Queensland, taking this issue extremely seriously. Look, first of all, I want to thank everyone who has done the right thing over the past 3 days. This has been something unprecedented, a world first and an Australian first, and we wanted to make sure we acted quickly, we acted strongly, we acted decisively, and that's exactly what we did. And can I thank people in the Greater Brisbane region for responding in the way that they did. It has been absolutely, truly remarkable. So I can announce that the reward for this sacrifice is that we are able to end our lockdown after 3 days. That is fantastic news. So from 6 p.m. tonight, that lockdown will end. However, we will need to continue some restrictions, and I ask for everyone's patience for this as I go through these. They are sensible, they are very logical, and they are needed for the next 10 days. This is on the advice of Dr. Young, because we want to make sure that that incubation period, that 14 days, has totally lapsed before we return back to normal. So for the rest of Queensland, everyone continues on just as they have been, but what we are asking for the next 10 days in Greater Brisbane is that, and of course that's those local council areas of Brisbane, Ipswich, Logan City, Moreton Bay and Redlands. So from 6 p.m. tonight until the 1st of January, from 1 a.m. to January 22nd, I better get that right, from 1 a.m. to January 22nd, we want you to hang on to your masks, okay? So we will be asking you to continue to use those masks. So it'll be you'll have to carry a face mask with you at all times on you. This is not dissimilar to what has happened in other jurisdictions. Now, where do you need to wear this mask? Now, you need to wear this mask in shopping centres, supermarkets, retail outlets and indoor markets, in hospitals and aged care facilities, in churches and places of worship, libraries, indoor recreational facilities, such as cinemas, art galleries, those sort of types of places, and gyms. Now, in indoor workplaces, where you can socially distance, you don't have to wear a mask, but where you can't socially distance, we ask you to put a mask on. Now, you must also wear a mask on public transport, in taxis and ride shares. You do not have to wear a mask if you're in your own vehicle or if you have your family in your own vehicle, and at airports and travelling on planes. So, when in doubt, wear a mask. That's very simple, but it's those crowded areas. We just want Greater Brisbane for the next 10 days to all be part of this mask wearing. It is for 10 days only, and then hopefully if we get zero community transmission over those 10 days, then we can just go back to the rest of Queensland. There will be some just a little further restrictions on business and venues, but not too much, and that will be for retail dining. Indoor will go back to the 1 person per 4 square metre, and the Health Minister will go through those areas in a bit more detail. And I'm quite sure people are wondering about the cricket, so fingers crossed, looks like everything's going ahead. The Gabba will be filled to half the capacity, and masks are mandatory for entering and for leaving and moving around the stadium. But if you're sitting there at your seat, you will not need to wear your mask because you are outside. But if you're going along to the cricket, take your mask, put it on. Most people will be coming by public transport anyway, where you'll have to wear your mask. So look, I want to thank everyone for doing the right thing. This has been unprecedented. It has been extraordinary time for people. And as we know, this UK variant, the reason why we did it and why we're continuing to wear our masks in those public areas is because this is a highly contagious strain, 70% more contagious, and we don't want to see that in our community. So, people have made a big sacrifice over the last 3 days up until 6 p.m. tonight, and I honestly thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work that you have done, and as I said, together we will get through this. So I'll hand over now to Dr Young, and then the Health Minister will say a few words, and then we're happy to take questions after that.
Premier. So overnight we had no cases related to that lady from Algester, which is excellent news. We did have 4 cases in hotel quarantine. All had come back from the UAE and 2 had travel from the UK. 2 of those 4 cases were Emirates flight crew. So those 4 are now being managed. We had, as we heard, 18,904 tests, which is fantastic. That is an excellent response from Queenslanders. Please continue, because we can't quite relax yet. We still need to see out the remainder of that 14-day incubation period from the lady who... Oh, I apologise. Would you like me to start again? Yes? No?
This problem we still need to see.
Okay, so thank you. So thank you very much to all those Queenslanders who've come forward and got tested over the last few days. That's been an excellent response, and it helps us then work out if we've got any chains of transmission out there. Please, could everyone continue that? Any symptoms you've got, come forward. We now have, due to people coming forward and due to the contact tracers working through with venues, we now have 370 contacts of the lady involved, and of those, 172 have had their test results come back and they're all negative. Then we've had 304 close contacts, and of those, 154 test results have come back and they're negative. Now, it is really important. I don't think that everyone has come forward yet. So I'm going to go through those venues that I'm most concerned about, and I asked anyone, if you've been to any of these venues during the times listed, please immediately ring 13 Health for advice or go to one of those testing sites and tell them you've been in that venue. We need to find everyone. So if I could just go through them again. Woolworths Callum Vale North between 11 a.m. and midday on the 3rd of January. Coles Sunnybank Hills on the 5th of January between 7:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. The Nextra Sunnybank Hills newsagent on Tuesday 5th of January between 8 a.m. and 8:15 a.m. So those are the three most critical venues, and I really need people to come forward who's been there in those times. Anyone else, any symptoms, please could you come forward? That's critical. So for the next 10 days, while we see out the 14-day incubation period, we still do have to be on heightened alert. And we've seen everyone do that. That is fantastic. But everyone, particularly in those areas of Callum Vale North, Algesta, around that area, please make sure if you've got any symptoms at all, you come forward. And if you've been in any of those venues during those time frames, please come forward. Thank you.
So again, we want to thank Queenslanders and particularly those in Greater Brisbane for their tremendous effort the last few days. And that means that from 6 o'clock tonight, we can go to a much lower level of restrictions. But we do need to be vigilant over the next few days because people are still coming forward, as Dr Young has said, in relation to those particular sites that the cleaner has gone to, and also, of course, the woman in Mullaney. The reason why we have to continue to be vigilant is that globally this virus is getting worse. There's been now 90 million positive cases around the world, over 1.9 million deaths. But what is more concerning is the World Health Organization has reported that for the third week in a row, we have seen positive cases of 4 million new cases a week. And we have seen an increase of 3% in the death rate. So this means things are getting worse globally, which is why we are seeing more positive cases coming back from overseas. And it is why Queensland welcomes the decision of National Cabinet to now reduce the number of people coming overseas while we work towards getting this vaccine in our community so that we can move back towards a more normal environment for everybody. Now, what we are doing from 6 p.m. this evening will not be unusual for people. They are restrictions that we have had before. So we are going back to the 1 per 4 square metres at businesses and venues, unless you are a small venue where you can go to the 1 per 2 square metres. Of course, we are now allowing people to leave their homes for any reason whatsoever. Making sure that venues apply the social distancing rules that we have had before. That includes stadiums, that will be back to 50%. This is until 1 a.m. on the 22nd of January, so we can get past this 14-day period. The new measure that we haven't had before is the masks, and our initiative that we're putting in place with masks is very similar to Victoria and New South Wales, where we will be mandating the wearing of masks in certain places, particularly public indoor areas, so shopping centres, supermarkets, cinemas, other venues. But of course, where it comes to stadiums, we're saying you should wear a mask while you are moving around those venues, but once you are seated, you can take your mask off. We'll also be asking staff who are working face-to-face in the hospitality area to also be wearing masks over these 10 days. These measures are really important. As I say, we've worked with these measures before, all Queenslanders.
Well done, Queenslanders, and it is wonderful to see that the restrictions have been lifted in the timely manner, and that everyone did the right thing. And it was wonderful to see. I go on my morning walks, and everywhere you could see people doing the right thing. Only few people were out and about, those ones who really needed to be, and then they had the mask on, so which is good. I mean, you could never take these things for granted, and it is very important that we give it the due importance that it really, really needs. Right now, in the next segment, we will be looking at the PBD. PBD means the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and of course we will look at some of these Pravasi Sanmam awardees, and of course the keynote speech there from Prime Minister Modi, and of course from the chief guest this year, the President of Suriname. All that coming up in the show very soon.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world, and don't forget that every Wednesday, the real estate update with GlobeNet Realty we bring to you right from here, where we look at the market trends, we look at the property values, we look at the interest rate, and the industry on its own overall, what's happening, so that you can make some informed decision. As we know, real estate is very close to the heart of many of our community, and people like to keep update and abreast with that. Well, right now we'll go to this report on the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas stands the PBD, and of course it was launched to connect India with its diaspora, and we have attended quite a few, because Gopio has been very closely associated and has been one of the lobbyists and the reason for the PBD to come about. This year, it was held in a virtual manner. We have got the full coverage of that, but that will take too long because the whole coverage was for the whole day. Here is a condensed version put together by RSTB, which is Rajya Sabha TV. So courtesy of them, and credit is given to them, where they have compiled a short program which covers the key points of that. Remember, this segment is brought to you by the courtesy of Rajya Sabha TV.
Of External Affairs, it is my honor to extend a very warm welcome to you for the inaugural session of the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2021. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is celebrated every 2 years with the aim to strengthen the engagement of overseas Indian community with India. The theme of the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention is contribution to Atmanirbhar Bharat. To share more information, we present to you a short video film on Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention.
वे देश की प्रगति में सहयात्री हैं, को ट्रैवलर हैं। हमारी विकास यात्रा में आप हमारे एक वैल्यूएबल साथी हैं, पार्टनर हैं, स्टेक होल्डर हैं।
Pravasis are, in a manner of speaking, our extended family. They live abroad, but remain deeply connected in heart and soul with us. As with family members, we take great pride in their achievements. And again, as we do with our near and dear, there is always a strong sense of responsibility towards them.
And as mentioned before, the chief guest for this year is the President of Suriname. And as we know, the whole function was held virtually, and there were many people who connected virtually, and we were one of the streaming partners here. And as I mentioned, we have the full version, but that takes quite a long time to go through the whole lot. So right now, let's join in once again.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. To commence today's program, may I request Honorable External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Shankar, to kindly present the welcome remarks. Sir, please. The welcome remarks. Sir, please.
Thank you. Respected Pradhan Mantri Ji, Excellency President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi Ji, Pravasi brothers and sisters, friends, Namaskar. It is my honor to welcome you all to the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention. This is part of a tradition that began 2 decades ago when the then Prime Minister, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee Ji, envisioned a comprehensive framework for Pravasi outreach. This included the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, Pravasi Bharatiya Sanmam Awards, the Overseas Citizen of India, and the Persons of Indian Origin cards. In the years that have passed, these initiatives have been strengthened by a range of other activities, and even more, transformed by the very unique bonding that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has established with the diaspora. This gathering takes place, as all events currently do, against the backdrop of the devastating COVID pandemic. Even as we muster up our inner strengths to combat it effectively, let me emphasize that these unprecedented difficulties have only further strengthened our bonds with Pravasis. This was expressed in the Vande Bharat mission that brought more than 3.5 million of our people home. It was equally visible in the support we provided for the return from India of those of other nationalities to 120 countries. And not least, it was seen in the medicines that we sent to 150 nations, many with large Pravasi communities. COVID has taught us many lessons. Prominent among them, the need to be more self-reliant. Its uncertainty has created a global demand for shorter, more trusted and resilient supply chains. We in India have responded through the policy of Atmanirbhar Bharat, building stronger capacities at home to make a larger contribution abroad. It is natural that we seek to involve our diaspora in that process, as they have a well-earned reputation.
So as we can see that the engagement of the diaspora is encouraged, and of course we know that every year or every second year now it is always held in India, and every time we like to go and attend that in person. Well, right now here's the next part of the
Mr. Modi, and I wish to thank him for this. Mr. Prime Minister, may I take this opportunity to particularly mention and express my gratitude for the warm words you publicly expressed after my inauguration as President of Suriname last July in your program, Man Ki Baat, on 26th of July last year. This was highly appreciated. And in the same spirit, Mr. Prime Minister, may I also thank you for the kind greetings and the attention you bestowed on the diaspora of Suriname in the Netherlands during your visit there in 2017. Mr. Prime Minister, I had the privilege to meet you and the late Sushma Swaraj in 2018 when I headed a delegation to the first PIU parliamentarian delegation from Suriname to Delhi during the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. I'm looking forward for the opportunity to meet you again at some point in the not so distant future as the head of state of Suriname. Last year, President Suriname Nat Kovind visited Suriname, and it would be my honor to visit India very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, my country Suriname and India have a long history of almost 148 years, a history that has shaped lives of many who traveled the Kalapani and other oceans to new and uncertain destinations. All the while, these Girmitias, migrants, kept and maintained their cultural roots and heritage of this great nation, India. Like many of my countrymen, I am also the product of this history of migration. Today, destiny has put us in this time and place to guide and steer Suriname in the tradition of the universal teaching of the great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, to bring people together, to bind them to one nation, and to do so peacefully and in the traditions of an open and democratic society. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly mention a bit history of my country. As president, I'm grateful to be a part of a multi-ethnic society and peaceful society, a society whose forefathers came from all over the world. As a son of Suriname, I also feel pride in being of Indian heritage.
So, talking about the Indian heritage there is because Suriname, Trinidad, Guyana, Fiji, Mauritius, and all these places, people of Indian origin were taken under the British rule when the British were there in the 1800s. And they have maintained their connection with their roots. And of course, they have maintained their customs, tradition, culture, and in many countries, language as well. So, moving on, let's go to the next segment of the presentation.
Pakistanis there, who are preserving the cultural heritage, the sanskar, he said, and of course, very importantly, how India and Suriname have in fact bonded on many levels, and this is yet another historical opportunity for that bond to get strengthened and for, in fact, forging ahead with that bond. He's in fact also proposed the free movement between the people of our countries to benefit the tourism and the business opportunities as well. And he said that the importance, the role that the Indian diaspora plays there in Suriname and of course, in other countries around the world is of mutual benefit, and how really India is a part of Suriname's soft power there. Remember, this is of course the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention taking place, and that was the keynote address by the chief guest, the President of the Republic of Suriname. In some time from now, we'll have Prime Minister Modi's address coming in, taking place, and of course the inauguration of the convention that will take place. Remember, this is the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention taking place in a virtual format. Some time back, we had
And as she mentioned, this is the virtual Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, the 16th one. And of course, we have always been privileged to attend many of them in person in many different cities of India.
नमस्कार। देश विदेश में बसे मेरे सभी भारतीय भाइयों और बहनों, नमस्कार। आप सभी को 2021 की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आज दुनिया के कोने कोने से हमें भले ही इंटरनेट से जोड़ा है, लेकिन हम सभी का मन हमेशा से मां भारती से जुड़ा है, एक दूसरे के प्रति अपनत्व से जुड़ा है। फ्रेंड्स, दुनिया भर में मां भारती का गौरव बढ़ाने वाले आप सभी साथियों को हर साल प्रवासी भारतीय सम्मान देने की परंपरा है। भारत रत्न स्वर्गीय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के मार्गदर्शन में जो यात्रा शुरू हुई, उसमें अभी तक 60 अलग अलग देशों में रहे करीब 240 महानुभावों को ये सम्मान दिया जा चुका है। इस बार भी इसकी घोषणा की जाएगी। इसी तरह दुनिया भर से हजारों साथियों ने भारत को जानिए क्विज कंपटीशन में हिस्सा लिया है। ये संख्या बताती है कि जड़ से दूर भले हो जाएं, लेकिन नई पीढ़ी का जुड़ाव उतना ही बढ़ रहा है। इस क्विज के 15 विजेता भी आज इस वर्चुअल समारोह में हमारे बीच मौजूद है। मैं सभी विजेताओं को बधाई देता हूं, शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और साथ साथ इस क्विज कंपटीशन में हिस्सा लेने वाले सभी अभिनंदन के अधिकारी हैं। और मेरा इस क्विज कंपटीशन में हिस्सा लेने वाले सबसे आग्रह है कि आप तय करिए कि अगली बार जब क्विज कंपटीशन होगी, तब आपके प्रयत्न से 10 और नए लोग इसमें जुड़ेंगे। ये चेन चलनी चाहिए, चेन बढ़नी चाहिए, लोगों को जोड़ना चाहिए। कई विदेश के लोग भारत में पढ़ने के लिए आते हैं, पढ़ करके अपने देशों में जाते हैं।
And a very wonderful speech there by Prime Minister Modi. And of course, he's talking about the connection of the diaspora back to India under the various programs such as Know India program, and of course the competition of speech writing and all the events that do take place. And his comment is that, every year, if one person brings in another 10, one person influences another 10 to connect, so the connection will always rise. Here is the ending part of his speech.
भारत ने एजुकेशन से लेकर एंटरप्राइज तक सार्थक बदलाव के लिए स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं। इसमें आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज का विस्तार हुआ है। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को प्रमोट करने के लिए प्रोडक्शन लिंक सब्सिडी स्कीम ये बहुत पॉपुलर हुई है और बहुत कम समय में बहुत पॉपुलर हुई है। आप भी इसका भरपूर लाभ उठा सकते हैं। साथियों, भारत सरकार हर समय हर पल आपके साथ आपके लिए खड़ी है। दुनिया भर में कोरोना लॉकडाउन से विदेशों में फंसे 45 लाख से ज्यादा भारतीयों को वंदे भारत मिशन के तहत रेस्क्यू किया गया। विदेशों में भारतीय समुदाय को समय पर सही मदद मिले, इसके लिए हर संभव प्रयास किए गए। पैंडेमिक के कारण विदेशों में भारतीयों के रोजगार सुरक्षित रहे, इसके लिए डिप्लोमेटिक स्तर पर हर संभव कोशिश की गई। गल्फ सहित अनेक देशों से लौटे साथियों के लिए स्किल्ड वर्कर्स अराइवल डाटाबेस फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट सपोर्ट यानी स्वदेश नाम की नई पहल शुरू की गई। इस डाटाबेस का उद्देश्य वंदे भारत मिशन में लौट रहे वर्कर्स की स्किल मैपिंग करना और उन्हें भारतीय और विदेशी कंपनियों से जोड़ना है। इसी तरह दुनिया भर में भारतीय समुदाय के साथ बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी के लिए रिश्ता नाम का नया पोर्टल लॉन्च किया गया है। इस पोर्टल से मुश्किल समय में अपने समुदाय से कम्युनिकेट करना, उन तक तेजी से पहुंचना आसान होगा। इस पोर्टल से दुनिया भर के हमारे साथियों के एक्सपर्टाइज का भारत के विकास में उपयोग करने में भी बहुत मदद मिलेगी। साथियों, यहां से अब हम आजादी के 75वें साल की तरफ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। अगला प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस आजादी के 75वें वर्ष के समारोह से भी जुड़ेगा। महात्मा गांधी, नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस, स्वामी विवेकानंद ऐसे अनगिनत महान व्यक्तित्वों की प्रेरणा से दुनिया भर के भारतीय समुदाय ने आजादी में अहम भूमिका निभाई है। ऐसे में ये समय उन साथियों को, उन सेनानियों को भी याद करने का है जिन्होंने भारत से बाहर रहते हुए भारत की आजादी के लिए काम किया। मेरा विश्व भर में फैले हुए सभी भारतीय समुदाय के लोगों से, हमारे मिशन में बैठे हुए सभी लोगों से ये आग्रह रहेगा कि हम एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार करें, एक पोर्टल तैयार करें और उस पोर्टल में ऐसे प्रवासी भारतीयों का जिन्होंने आजादी के जंग में विशेष भूमिका निभाई है, उनकी सारी तथ्य आधारित चीजें उसमें रखी जाए। जहां भी फोटो उपलब्ध है, फोटो रखी जाए। विश्व भर में कब किसने क्या किया, कैसे किया, इन बातों का उसमें वर्णन हो। हर भारतीय के पराक्रम का, पुरुषार्थ का, त्याग का, बलिदान का, भारत माता के प्रति उसकी भक्ति का गुणगान हो, उनकी जीवन गाथाएं हो, जिन्होंने विदेश में रहते हुए भारत को आजाद कराने में अपना योगदान दिया। और मैं तो ये भी चाहूंगा कि अब जो क्विज कंपटीशन के लिए जो क्विज तैयार होंगे, उसमें विश्व भर में ऐसे भारतीय समुदाय के योगदान पर भी क्विज का एक अलग चैप्टर हो। 500, 700, 1000 वो सवाल हो जो विश्व भर में फैले हुए भारतीयों के विषय में भी जिज्ञासु लोगों को लिए ज्ञान का एक अच्छा सरोवर बन जाए। ऐसे सारे कदम हमारे बंधन को मजबूत करेंगे, आने वाली पीढ़ियों को प्रेरित करेंगे। आप सब इतनी बड़ी तादाद में आज वर्चुअली मिले हैं। कोरोना के कारण रूबरू में मिलना संभव नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन भारत का हर नागरिक हमेशा यही चाहता है कि आप स्वस्थ रहें, आप सब सुरक्षित रहें, अपना और देश का नाम रोशन करते रहें। इसी कामना के साथ मैं फिर एक बार सूरीनाम के राष्ट्रपति जी का हृदयपूर्वक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। उन्होंने जो हम सबको प्रेरणा दी है, हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, वे सचमुच में भारत का गौरव बढ़ाने वाले उन महापुरुषों में से एक हैं। मैं उनका भी विशेष धन्यवाद करता हूं और इसी कामना के साथ आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister of India. We are honored by your gracious presence and grateful to you for your kind words of appreciation and encouragement to the overseas Indian community.
And that ends the special presentation. As I mentioned, the whole event, including the Samman awardees, is rather long, but we thought we'd bring to you the glimpses there. Once again, thank you very much for joining in. And remember, in Queensland, the restrictions are lifting from 6 p.m., but there are other restrictions in place. One is, having the mask all the time, anywhere out in the public. So, if you're leaving your home, getting out, make sure you have the masks on as well. Plus, check out all the websites and updates. We have been used to this lockdown. The restrictions. Not the lockdown. The lockdown finishes at 6 p.m. Tonight, and it is. Congratulations to each and every one of you here in Queensland, in Greater Brisbane area, for having gone through this in a very diligent manner. And it was very good to see that everyone abiding by the rules. It was just amazing looking out the window here and looking at the streets where I can always see so much traffic, completely deserted. So well done, Queensland. Well, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. And remember, if you have any topic that you'd like to discuss on this show, more than happy to have you on the show. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Stay safe and be good.